Hello, welcome back to Crafty Magic Arts. Today we ask an important question. What has horns but doesn't? What is brown but isn't? This is a question my son posed to me, and we had a lot of back and forth on what it could be. Cow? No. Table? No. Close. It's a MooseBear! I don't know how table was closer to MooseBear than cow, but you know what? I'm all here for it, and I needed to make this come to life. And here I am back at Thingiverse getting the necessary animals for my creation. I need a moose and a bear, because, it's MooseBear. Keen-eyed viewers will notice it is the same moose and bear from actually my Canadian Chimera. And I'm following very similar steps to make this happen. I take apart the animal, and then I stitch it back together using Blender. While this is far from the quickest process ever, you cannot deny the results. The moose and the bear coming together nicely, and I use the sculpting tool to actually smooth out the pieces in between to make sure they look good together as a single piece. So I bring it into Cura to make sure it's ready for printing. I want this to be bigger, so I'm using my filament printer instead of my resin printer, and it looks like it's ready to go. After a short 30-hour print and another hour cleanup, here is the MooseBear. I'm currently filling in all the different layer lines with modeling compound to make sure that the piece will actually look nice and smooth and cohesive when it's all together. Also great to sand. I find that my finger was not as effective as I'd like to be, so I moved to brush and a little bit of water to spread it in, and I go thoroughly over the whole piece, although the underside definitely gets a little bit more because I did have some weird issues. So now it's on to sanding. I'm actually using my rotary tool here to do the work for me. It's a really good way to actually do this. I'm using this plastic bag. I'm pretty sure it's for blankets to do this because it makes a huge mess and I don't want a huge mess. Plus you can still see it. Tricks of the trade. But now I need to hand sand it using my sanding blocks. Yes, that's what they're called, sanding blocks, and my sanding sticks. Sure, that works. I want to make sure I get into all the different areas. I'm even using this nifty little tool that I got from Opus. My husband got it for me for my birthday. It's really great for getting into all those little nooks and crannies, but I am still using my sanding stick and sanding block to get all the other stuff. After a lot of mess, I have to clean my area. There was so much mess. But now we're finally on to painting. I want to start with my gesso and oop, that's gross. I'm not going to use my finger and more mess. After a little bit of cleaning, I should be ready to actually begin painting. I'm using black gesso because that is the tone I want to kind of set for the piece. If I did white, the colors would be a different level of brightness. I want them to actually have a little bit of a dark undertone, so black is where I actually want to start. Moving on to color, I'm getting ready to do this, and I grab my color, give it a good shake, and it explodes. I'm frantically trying to clean it up. I have it everywhere. It's on my house coat, on my face, on my stuff. I have to clean it up. You can see it's a little bit dried because I had to run and get my poor house coat clean. After that 20-minute delay, I'm able to actually begin to paint my bear using this lovely paint. It is dark purple that will actually go on the underside of the bear. I'm looking to create a gradient between dark purple and light purple. So here is the light purple that gives me a little trouble opening, but I'm able to proceed with painting and blending it into the dark purple. Now you're probably wondering, why purple? Like, why is purple a thing? Well, after the Canadian Chimera, I was kind of over brown. I didn't just want to do brown again. So with my son's permission, I decided to do a purple bear. He did want a gradient of color, so he wasn't just looking for just purple, but maybe purple and red. Red was a little harsh, so I leaned more into the pink aesthetic. So you can see that it does look a little bit more pink than red, although in the head you can tell it is more red than pink. And now I am painting the horns to be black, but we'll discuss why they're going to be black later in the video. Hooves get the same treatment. Yes, the bear has hooves because it's a MooseBear. It's not a bear. It is a MooseBear. That was interesting because it didn't really look like hooves when you first start out, but then you have to oh, right, there's hooves. Now I'm busting on my chalk pastels. I have a nice variety of color here. My trick that I like to use is I actually like to use sandpaper to grind them out, and then it allows me to pick up the pigment a lot easier. It does damage your brush, the way, because you're rubbing your brush onto sandpaper. Just FYI, use cheap brushes if you do this little trick. But here I am, I'm all done. I'm actually using Master's pastels and some old pastels I got from my mom. She's had them a long time and she gave them to me a long time ago. I love them. Now it is time for Black 3.0. Oh yeah, so I don't just want to make the horns black. I want them to be the blackest black. I know Black 4.0 is a thing. I got the Black 3.0 for Christmas a few years ago when Black 3.0 was the blackest black. But now there's 4.0, that's the blackest black. And I'm not buying 4.0 until I'm out of 3.0, so. But yes, the horns, the antlers are being painted black, and then now I'm taking out white 2.0. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a heads up, this stuff stinks. I don't know why, but it does. Fun fact. The use of my trusty white 2.0, I am dabbing on stars. Yes, this is the galactic bear. Yes, it has the galaxy in its antlers. And yes, I should actually look up proper constellations. And I decided to lean into the bear aesthetic, and you can see here that this is the bear I'm going for. This is Ursa Major. I also do Ursa Minor as well. So here I am marking out the constellation on the antlers. There are no specific orientation in order for them to fit. I actually did have to make some little choices when it comes to the orientation. But this is Ursa Major on this antler. Slow little dabs here and there. I'm using my dotting tools. That's the easiest way to get the stars the way I want them. And I'm able to get the constellation fully in there. Now I'm not going to mark out lines. I want to keep it simple. And here's Ursa Minor going onto the other antler. Since I already dabbed on stars, it was a perfect spot for me to squeeze it in, and it is upside down. Now I'm adding a ton more other stars just to kind of fill in the space in between, them all smaller than the constellation to allow for those to kind of stand out on the antler. You can see them a little bit more clearly here. Now it's time for the eyes. Now, the bear eyes that I have here are actually quite small on the actual model, and I actually want to make sure they stand out, so I actually draw a little outside the lines. And I'm filling them in with Black 3.0. And then also touching up the nose a little bit too, because I noticed the bear's noses are actually go a little bit further in than what's seen here. Now using my watercolor pencils, I'm going to draw in the mouth area and also add some coloring around the eyes. I want to kind of give it, I want to make sure you know it's a bear. So now it's time to actually spray. So when you're using pastels or you're using watercolor pencils, you will need to spray your piece to actually make sure it doesn't go anywhere else. When working with Black 3.0 or White 2.0, you cannot get any kind of finish on it. It will actually ruin the aesthetic, and it won't be the black's black anymore because it'll add shimmer. The thing about making it so black is the fact that it's so matte, it actually absorbs light. So yeah, now I'm on to shimmering. This is adding it into the eyes, and I want to make sure it looks really pretty and shiny. Again, leaning into the fact that this is a galactic moose bear. By the way, his name is Aurora Borealis. So pretty. Also, I'm going to use some of those shimmers as well to add on to the back of the hair. I got this for Christmas. They're actually lovely paints and they work very well. I rub it off so it's just almost like a very light shimmer. And with a little more touch-ups, he is officially done. Look at Aurora Borealis. Isn't he cute? You can just call him Borealis. Oh man, I love him. Yay! So excited. And here he is, all done. Borealis is looking amazing. This actually was the inspiration for the Canadian Chimera. My son actually came up with the MooseBear before I came up with the Canadian Chimera. He gave me the idea and I ran with it with the Canadian Chimera, but I had to come back to the MooseBear. I absolutely adore the outcome of the MooseBear. This is something my son really, really wanted me to make. So I partnered with him, I guess you could say, to make sure it happened. And you can see that there's a lot of love and care that went into it. He was there every step of the way to make sure it was what he'd like. It does stand on this beautiful onyx piece that I got at the thrift store, and that is its home. So it's in his room. It's all done. And yeah, I hope you like this. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the next one. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye.